Today we are doing things slightly differently. Let's take a look. What's going on, guys, and welcome to week number 12 of the collection update series. For those of you who are new here, this is the series where we take a look at 12 amazing new cards that we get to add to our collection binder, and we do this every single week and hopefully talk with you guys about collecting as well. Now, thankfully, we did get some comments this week, so thank you guys so much for being a part of this series. This week's comment is from Jack. Now, Jack says he's really enjoying the series and he's inspired to start collecting a binder of his own. That first binder is just going to be a full set of Streets of New Capenna, which he says he's only got 16 more cards left to finish the set. So Jack, congratulations. He did also say he got a Ren and Cirium, wants to start into some Commander. So I want to give you guys the opportunity to give him some suggestions. What can he do to better that Commander deck and hopefully build that one up and have some fun with it? Jack, I wish you the absolute best of luck with your binder as well as your Commander deck. I'll leave some suggestions in the comment sections as well, but thank you guys so much for participating in the collection series. Now, with that being said, like I mentioned at the top of the video, we're doing a slightly different format today for the 12 cards that we're going to be going through, but you'll see that as we go through. Let's jump in, let's have some fun, and let's see what we've got in the binder this week. Starting off, we are jumping straight into blue with Acquire. Originally printed in 2004 in 5th Dawn, this IDW Comics version was printed about 10 years later and represents the only reprint of Acquire we have seen. This unique printing offers artwork by Anthony Francisco highlighting Dak Faden with a beautiful spacey background. While the power level of this card is highly dependent upon the opponent's deck list, it does provide a great way to handle opposing cards like Blightsteel Colossus, which can help win the game on the spot. While holding value around $10 for this particular version and adding to the collection of IDW promos, I couldn't be happier adding this to the collection. Next up, we are taking a look at a simple little card used in the Extra Turns deck, Exhaustion. While this particular card doesn't hold any major value, it's extremely powerful in a deck focused on blanking the opponent's turns as often as possible. The key is to time it perfectly so that the opponent really doesn't have any optimal plays on the turn after you play the Exhaustion. Surprisingly, I didn't have any versions of this card in my collection, so I went ahead and picked up 4 copies even though we are only adding 1 to the binder today. Eventually, I would like to build that Extra Turns deck in paper, and I think it'd be really fun, despite being probably a very salty deck. Moving to our highest value card so far, we have a beautiful original Mirage printing of Mystical Tutor featuring the artwork from David O'Connor. While I have a couple of versions of this card already in my collection, the original version has always eluded me. Finally, I'm able to add this to the binder. This is a great value piece and something that I do intend to add to my cube. I love the original artwork and it's a great pickup for the collection. Finally, our last blue card for the binder this week is an original printing of Turnabout. Surprisingly, I have an IDW Comics version of this in my collection, but I have never picked up the original version. While I do love the promo art of this card, I actually love the original version even better, mostly for the artwork, but also because of that awesome old school card frame. This is also a card I absolutely love in cube, mostly for the combo potential, and this version will certainly be the one that I add to the cube. Next up, we're moving into black, and I have said it before, if a beta card pulls up on the random searches, I'll do my best to pick it up, and today we actually have a beta version of Howl from Beyond. While this card is just a common, and it's really not even that powerful, it still provides a great historic piece for the binder. Cards like this are where the game began, and I love adding these historic cards to the binder so I can go back and marvel at how far the game has come. Not only that, but they also hold a reasonable amount of value, and so I absolutely love having this in the binder. Moving straight over red and right into green, we have an absolutely stunning version of Glistener Elf. This Friday Night Magic version of the card features the amazing artwork by Mark Zug. While Glistener Elf is really only a card featured in the Infect deck, the power level of the deck is certainly one that shouldn't be overlooked. Often the turn 1 play, Glistener Elf provides an optimal turn 1 start and is a must include for the Infect deck. Our second green card is original Tarmogoyf. This is one of the most up and down cards in recent years. Between reprints, meta shifts in Modern, and everything else, it's been tricky to pin down a true value of this card, but the original version has always been up there and it's always been on my list for the collection. Featuring the original Future Sight card frame that I personally love, and the ridiculous artwork by Justin Murray, I always love this version most of all. I'm also happy to say Tarmogoyf seems to be making a small Modern comeback, so I'm hoping to add this to my current Jum build very soon. Moving into multicolor, a truly unique piece to add to the binder is the Mythic Edition of Sarkhan Unbroken. Part of a small subset of Planeswalkers to get this special treatment, I've always been a fan of these, but never really picked them up. While I'm not much of a Dragons player, the ultimate ability on Sarkhan absolutely makes me want to play some crazy dragon combos just for the fun of it. Really a beautiful and special piece to add to the collection. Next up, we have an original Skullclamp from Darksteel. While this little artifact may not look like much, the broken potential of this card is absolutely incredible. In tandem with cards like Young Pyromancer or Monastery Mentor, it's incredibly easy to generate extra card advantage that is easily repeated every turn or multiple times in a single turn. An absolute powerhouse card and definitely a great include for the queue. Moving into the land section, we are kicking off with a beautiful Summer of Magic version of Faerie Conclave. Part of the Manland cycle, originally printed in Urza's Legacy, Faerie Conclave found a home in a number of control-focused decks in Modern in the early days of the format. Providing long-term inevitability by attacking in the air every turn, it may not have been the fast game ender that you were hoping for, but it could certainly get the job done. Not to mention, the beautiful foiling on this version is amazing. Moving further into Magic's past, we have an Ice Age printing of Glacial Chasm. A particularly interesting card thanks to its passive ability and cumulative upkeep mechanic, Glacial Chasm finds a home in Legacy decks as a way of shutting down opposing creature decks. While not really finding a home elsewhere, there's no denying how powerful this card can be at stalling out a game, assuming you have the life total to pay for it, of course. Finally, we have our final card of the week, Watery Grave. This original Ravnica City of Guilds version is by far my favorite of the multiple prints this card has seen from multiple visits to Ravnica. Featuring the beautiful artwork here by Rob Alexander, the original Shocklands are always a good pickup in my opinion, and I'm happy to add this one to the binder. This will certainly replace my previous versions in any decks and the cube. Alright guys, that is the next 12 cards being added to the binder this week. We will of course have the value as well as the completion of the binder up here on the screen. We're actually getting, I think, a quarter of the way through this week, which is pretty amazing. We're really pushing through. Not to mention, the value of the binder is really getting up there. We've got some amazing value cards here, and I absolutely love adding these to the weekly collection. Again, guys, I want to thank you all for participating in this series with me. If you do have a collection or a card that you've picked up maybe in the past week that you want to share down below, please feel free. I would absolutely love to hear about it. I will comment back and we'll hang out and talk about your collection as well as this one. Don't forget, guys, like, subscribe, and comment down below, but I do appreciate any and all support. Thank you guys so much for being a part of this series. I love you all. Have a fantastic weekend.